All right, folks. Welcome in to Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by our good friends over at Superbook Sports. I'm your host, Ryan Blackburn, at NBA Blackburn on Twitter, part of the Mile High Sports Podcast Network. And I am excited to be joined by my guy, Swipa, here. We are doing weekends with Swipa. It is Saturday morning. And on this Nuggets schedule, not a lot going well. Not a lot going well. Okay, Swipa, how you doing, my guy?
How do I describe the moment? So, because I'm so active on Twitter, everybody wants to talk to me all the time, right? That's kind of how it is. And whenever they lose, everybody asks for me because they want to know what happened. And so Rockets fans are and some Rockets content creators are really, really, really happy about what they were seeing. Some even questioning the legitimacy of how good these Nuggets are going to be the rest of the year. So been a really interesting stretch of games, Ryan. I think the malaise of the NBA season has hit, and 5 of the last 7 games they have lost. And so we'll see if this losing streak continues.
We will see for sure. It has been a frustrating stretch for sure. You know that I've been going to war. I've been going to absolute town on different topics here over the course of this road trip. So there's nobody more thankful that this road trip is done than I am. No, I'm very happy that we can now kind of talk about this thing from a distance a little bit. It was horrible. There were a lot of aspects that I think need to be discussed. And yeah, no, I think Philly fans were taking a lap in my mentions last night because a few days ago I had tweeted out that the Cavs had eliminated the Sixers from the in-season tournament. And so lo and behold, the Sixers fans were like, yeah, hey, look, the Rockets have eliminated the Nuggets from the in-season tournament now. What do you say to that? I'm like, yeah, the Nuggets kind of suck right now.
Look, I said before the season started, this was coming. And I think this is just who the Nuggets are. And, I think here's the thing, Ryan. If they were like just getting blitzed and their offense was still firing off, it's like, all right, their defense, but their defense has not been great. But their offense has been even worse. They've not been able to score. They have just not looked like the same team. They just don't have the confidence. The ball's not popping. To take an Adam Modest word, they're just not able to communicate enough to get effective shots. And they just don't look like a team that right now is just really bought in to maybe the goal of the long-term season. Now, this is so funny, is that if you look at who they lost to, granted, some of these are good teams. Last 7 games, they lost to the Rockets twice, the Pelicans, the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell, nor Karis LeVert. And then they lost to the Orlando Magic with no Fultz and then no Wendell Carter. Now, the Magic had won 5 straight to this point. The Rockets had won 1, and they had lost 3 straight prior to that. And then you had, obviously, the Pelicans, no CJ McCollum, no Trey Murphy. So here's the thing.
Oh, the Pelicans now they are, I think, on a big win streak as well, or it feels like they're on a big win streak, or at least they had been. But
yeah, they beat the Clippers last night, so I think that might be 4 straight for the Pelicans.
Three straight now, but they've turned it around, to be clear, and I think that started against the Nuggets. Like they found something that worked.
But here's the thing, Ryan, is even in the games they won versus the Pelicans, they were down 20 at one point in time. Then they got down 20 again to the Pelicans and then fell short. Got down 20 to the Cleveland Cavaliers, down 26 to the Rockets. Ryan, here's the thing. If they were just getting beat playing really good basketball, then that's a whole different discussion. But I think the thing is that I'm feeling right now is the team is the malaise of the season. I think it's the tiredness on the road. It's Jamal Murray being out, and it's the young guns off the bench. They just don't have any real confidence right now. So I think all those things put together, I think it's kind of aiding the Nuggets into kind of being in this funk they've been in for really maybe like 2 weeks now.
It's been bad, and then it's important that we be honest about it. That's what I've been trying to do over the course of this time, and not a lot of people wanted to hear it from me. But it is true that this has been a really tough stretch, and the Nuggets, they need to recenter, they need to refocus, and figure some stuff out. Let's save the young guys in the back end of the rotation for the second segment, but I want to talk about the Rockets game.
Yeah,
that game was unsurprising to me. Like I was very much like, after they had faltered the way that they did against the Orlando Magic, I thought the Nuggets would bring a bunch of effort. I don't think that the effort with the starting lineup was bad. I do think that the execution was as bad as it's ever been. Um, everything is reliant on Nikola Jokic to be successful, and everything that guys have been able to do individually in the past are now gone. Like Aaron Gordon, like we could spend 47 minutes on Aaron Gordon. Michael Porter can't dribble. KCP is the only guy that it feels like you can count on anything stable. And
Yeah.
then Reggie, like it is an adventure every time Reggie touches the basketball. So sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's really bad. I don't know what to trust now, other than dumping the ball off to Nikola Jokic in the post or at the elbow and see if he could create something.
Well, Aaron Gordon right now is a 51.7 true shooting. That's just
51.7.
51.7.
That's gross.
Yeah, that's a minus, I think, -6 league average true shooting
Yeah.
so far right now.
And it's not like Aaron takes tough shots.
No.
Aaron takes the easiest possible shots that the Nuggets can feed him within their system, whether it's in the dunker spot, wide open catch and shoot threes, or just back cuts and offensive rebounds. He should be an above 60% guy every single time.
So the thing that's happening with AG right now is that his 2-pointers are not bad. So on the season so far, if you look at his overall shooting, he's shooting 55% from two, which is not terrible, but that's actually lower than it's been the last 3 seasons he's been in Denver. But again, I think some of that shot profile stuff. But if you look at his shooting, the reason why it's so bad in 51.7 is because he's shooting on the season, he's shooting 52% from the free throw line, Shaq numbers, and then he's also shooting 22% from three. Aaron Gordon has just lost all confidence in his shot. He shot multiple frustration baskets yesterday. There were even points yesterday where the Nuggets were down like 10, and AG just goes down the court just to get a shot up and to try to see if he can make that 3-pointer. And I think for me, I was like, at that point, I don't think the Nuggets, they're trying to come back, but I think too, this is just goes to show you NBA basketball. They're like, dude, we're gonna see if we can, but we're gonna get another game here in a couple days anyway. Like it just is what it is. So when I saw that happen, I was like, yeah, I think these guys are they're just really frustrated right now with the way the offense is going. And I am just and I said yesterday, I know the Nuggets probably have one, but they definitely, I think AG needs to see a sports psychologist right now. Possibly because they have them. Again, if you don't know what those are, they have them in college teams, they got them in NBA, NFL teams, just people you talk to about your game. Like, because sometimes you can be in these funks. AG just does not look like a confident person when he has the ball away from the dunker spot right now. And that's just not who Aaron Gordon is. Aaron Gordon, for many people, is top 50 player in the league, at least a top 60 player in the league. And he does everything. He was really good in the playoff last year. And shooting is not even his most valuable skill set, but he's able to shoot from the restricted area at least consistently, but he's just not able to do that. And especially when you're playing on the court next to Joker. And I'll say this, Ryan, I think the Nuggets have they've kind of fallen into this like Jokic centered playoff style offense a little bit in the last 8 games. And I don't love the move. Like, it's good for Jokic's numbers, but I think the thing is that like it's just not the best Nuggets basketball. The ball's not popping right now sometimes. But again, they've been getting games with 27, 30 assists and 33 assists. So like it's not that they're not playmaking for each other, but without that Jamal Murray component to it, man, they're just like becoming really centralized on Joker dominating his matchups. And then, hopefully, we'll see what everybody else can do around him. That's just not a sustainable winning model.
I would call it simplified. I would call it stagnant. I would call it easy. What works, go like kind of going consistently towards what has worked consistently in the past. And it's just not good enough now in the NBA, especially when you're facing some pretty good defense. The Rockets are a really good defense, and they made Denver look dumb. They
Hmm.
did on the offensive end. 86 points is disgusting, and there was at one point where outside of Nikola Jokic last game, the Nuggets were 2 of 25 from the field.
Yeah.
Two of
5 of 30
25
from the
is
field. Yeah.
like that's gross. And they ultimately finished outside of Nicola, and it's not like, look, Nicola finished 14 of 31. He clearly gassed out at the end and missed some bunnies, but he also wasn't super efficient. But the other guys, like 18 of 64 is 22% from the field, or 28% from the field, excuse me.
Hmm.
And like that's as bad as it gets. And there are a couple of reasons why you can explain it away. Obviously, it's the end of a 5 game road trip. The Nuggets are without Jamal. Everybody's kind of frustrated. It was an in-season tournament game, and the Rockets were playing intense defense. And yet that's still unacceptable. It just is. Like if Denver says that they want to win everything, if they want to win because that was the message. Hey, you want to win everything for your team? I think Michael Porter showed up last game. I think KCP showed up last game. I think Nikola Jokic showed up last game. It took some of those guys a little bit longer than others to kind of
Right.
get into the flow, but I just there was a lot to be frustrated about by the way that the Nuggets ended this road trip. And I think that their defense is affecting their offense and their offense is affecting their defense. None of it is good.
Yeah, again, Porter on the year, he has a 58.3 true shooting. That's continuing to go up. That was bad because at the start of the year, but he's been pretty good the last several games or so. I think the thing is though, man, like they're just not and this is not just Jamal Murray, because some people are saying, well, when Jamal Murray, like, is this really gonna fix this? This is just about like your identity. And if you lose your identity, that happens. You're gonna have stretches like this. When the Nuggets are locked in, so this is the thing, when the Nuggets started this season off right, they were blitzing everybody. The team was, not just Joker. The team was blitzing everybody. And Michael Porter wasn't shooting well. So it wasn't just that their offense was going ham, their defense was playing at a locked in level versus the Lakers. But outside of the Minnesota game, they were dominant. And then the Nuggets on the season, they were 6-1 with Jamal Murray, I believe. But I think the thing is that once they had that injury and went down and then they went on this road trip, everything just kind of fell to the wayside and they lost a little bit of control on their season. So I'm not as worried about this. I'm just more so, I think the team, it just looks like they need a little bit of a reset. And now Malone obviously is having conversations about what they're going to do and making adjustments to the bench. And there's only but so many names that are available to that. And maybe this is more a Calvin Booth conversation as well, at least for one player. But
Oh,
right now, when we kind of talked about this going into the season, though, right? Like they have a bunch of rookies and second year players. The first 40 games of the year, Ryan, are probably going to look something like this.
it is definitely a Calvin Booth conversation because I do not think Calvin Booth did a good enough job with the roster. And I think that there are reasons to be critical, especially of this year, trying to shoot the gap as they've talked about and trying to become great for a long period of time. You still have to get the right guys into the building. And we're I think that there are some questions to be had about the actual players that they've added and like the way that they have set up their roster over the course of these like this off season. So there are some questions for sure because
Do you feel like
how many guys right now can they realistically go to, Swipa?
well, here's the thing though, is the Nuggets were at one point in the first half of the season so far, they had like a plus 1.8 bench. And so they were like the 11th ranked bench in the NBA, I believe, for the
Yeah,
first.
before everybody figured out that they're all rookies.
But see, that's not the thing. I don't even for me, I don't think that's how basketball works though. I think when you are not confident and you're not playing within yourself, I think that's when you kind of have your lulls. I think for me is for sure you get more tape on guys. But right now, Peyton hasn't looked the same because he just simply hasn't played with the same pop that he did, like versus OKC or Memphis or any of these teams. Christian Brown, up and down for a lot of the season, and then he hasn't looked super confident with some other things as well. I think that, when they got obviously Zeke Naji got his buddy. He's really struggling. Yesterday, you put a tweet out, they put him in for 1 minute into the first quarter, took him right out. And then yesterday he got back in, didn't do anything, took him right out. So they don't have a competent backup big that they trust right now outside of maybe DJ, but DJ obviously has his own flaws as well. I think Christian, Peyton, and now Reggie, them not being able to be consistently good enough to provide some stable offense on the other end because there's no Jamal Murray is exacerbating the issue. I think without Jamal, there's not a playmaker, there's not a scorer. They don't have true bucket getters. And I don't mean like a Bones bucket getter. I mean even a Bruce Brown creating pressure at the rim type of bucket getter. But even last year, though, Bruce wasn't good to start the year off, and people were questioning his acquisition because the defense was okay. His offense was just bad. But here's the thing. I think that like no Jeff Green makes it different from the size standpoint. Because obviously he had if you put up all his defensive games in Denver the last 2 years, yesterday might have been his best defensive game he's had. So obviously he played really well. But I just think, man, that I think it's just going to take some time. I do think the Nuggets are probably at this point, Now, let me say at this point, I would say if we get to game 30, Ron, and we're still kind of having these conversations, then yeah, I think that there's probably going to be a trade on the horizon with their last of remaining available assets to see if they can acquire somebody of value.
Just to address this because it keeps coming up. Ryan Swipa, what do you think about Aaron Gordon for OG and an Obi trade? OG is equally physical on defense and a 40% three-point shooter. Yeah, that is exactly what the Toronto Raptors would say too. And they're not adding Aaron Gordon to Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam. Like, why would they do that? So
Why would
you
the
always have
Nuggets
to.
want a worse player, by the way? But
Yeah, no, I still think that Aaron Gordon is the right fit for this team, and
no,
I'm not gonna talk about trades for the core
no.
guys. That's dumb, and we are not
It's the
addressing that.
first
Yeah,
16 games of the season. There's 82 games to play.
yeah.
This is such a small sample size. Because guess what? You know what people were saying last year before that Memphis game in December, Ryan? Jamal Murray, not good enough.
Yeah,
Porter, not good enough.
yeah,
AG, not good enough. This
yeah.
is Jokic's prime. We're still struggling. How are we 29th in defense? The KCP addition is bad. Bruce Brown isn't doing anything. That's just the way basketball works. I'm trying to tell y'all, out this 16 game sample size, you still are better off than everybody else for the most part. And Boston just got waxed by the Magic. Boston
Just
has
yeah.
5 all-star level players, at least 4, with one that's a fringe, can start on 2,800 teams maybe in the NBA with Derek
Not a
White.
top 100 player though.
So exactly, not top 100 player. So the thing is, and they have struggled this year. So this, I think people just have to sometimes take yourself out of like where you are. You've lost 5 of the last 7, and then you haven't had your second best player, who is the second half of your team. Like the thing is, Ryan, think about this. Yesterday, I'll put yesterday in a clutch situation. They were down 9 in the fourth quarter at one point. Now it wasn't within 5 minutes, but they were down 9. The Pelicans game got down to the clutch. The first Rockets game got down to the clutch. And then even the game versus the Magic got down to the clutch. They didn't have their second half of the best clutch 2-man pairing in the league. And four of those losses happened because they couldn't execute down the stretch. So this is what I'm saying. If they do execute down the stretch in 3 of those games, and now instead of 10-6, we're looking at 13-3. Everybody's like, "Oh wow, look at the Nuggets! They're just so dominant." But that's just how basketball works. It's this stuff. This stuff. It's diving for loose balls. It's good decision making. Reggie Jackson, if he gets that pick and roll with Joker at the top of the key, Ryan, that they didn't have versus the Magic, and instead he doesn't take forever to pass the ball back to the top of the key. He turns around through his left hand, passes it. Jokic switches to a shot, and then they win in overtime. Then the conversation is different. So this is what I mean. Everything in basketball is just so small, and now people are out on Michael Porter Jr. Like he's shooting 38% on 3,
Yeah,
and he started the year off shooting 32%. He's been playing well.
yeah.
He
No,
just had
I'm
25 points the other day.
Porter is fine. AG is fine. He had a bad game. Everybody's tired at the end of a road trip. Um, we're going to talk about the new rotation because it's going to happen. Like that's something that's coming down the pipeline
Right.
with Michael Malone. What's up?
Right away, just to be clear, since the start of the season, since Porter came back, he's averaging 19 and 8, and he's shooting 40% on 8.3 attempts per game. So he's playing well. It's just he didn't
Yeah,
have a good, great game.
I will say his defense has devolved into something pretty
Right.
poor. But like it is the regular season and
Oh,
it
it's
is a road trip.
Joker's, by the way.
Yeah, I agree. Believe me, I'm not allowed to say that though. So
His
it's okay.
his EPM has dropped from a -1 from a week and a half ago when it first dropped to a minus or a -0.1. Now it's a -0. I think in -0.8 now for Joker. Like
For
he's like
yeah,
they're all taking the
it,
foot off the pedal right now.
yeah, it is true. It is very very true. Okay. Let's recenter. Let's refocus, just like the Nuggets. And we're going to talk about this new rotation on the other side. But first, everybody, this podcast, as you know, it's brought to you by our good friends over at Superbook. Did you know that you could win a trip to the biggest football game of the year, courtesy of Superbook Sports? They'll fly you and a friend to Las Vegas from February's championship game. They will also give you 2 tickets to that game and a 3-night hotel stay. All you have to do is place a $25 same game parlay between now and January 7th, and you're automatically entered to win. So wager and win with the best with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll be right back on Weekends with Swipa. And we're back. Pickaxe and roll. Ryan Blackburn here. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the show. Joined by my guy Swipa here. Yeah, so impassioned conversation in about what's going wrong, what's happening with Denver. Let's talk about what the solutions are. Let's talk about what Michael Malone is going to try to do to come up with a solution for, in particular, the bench unit. We didn't spend a ton of time on the bench unit. I think everybody knows that they've been awful for the vast majority of the season. Like, there was a brief time where they were fine in the early parts, but now they are bad. And now I don't know who you can count on outside of Christian Braun. Christian Braun, I think, has elevated himself out of this conversation. He has done a good enough job of being consistent and doing some of the tough stuff. He is one of the only guys, in my opinion, that really gets dirty and rebounds and just forces the issue on the offensive end. And nobody else, I think, we can say actually does that on a consistent basis. Michael Malone talked post-game after the Houston Rockets loss that might be a change in the rotation coming. He said, I got to go to some other guys. You can't bring nothing to the rotation, basically. You can't bring nothing to the party. Okay, so Swipa, who's he talking about? Who's bringing nothing to the party right now?
Jalen Pickett, Colin Gillespie, Peyton Watson, Zeke Naji, probably all those. Those are probably the 4 players that.
Crap, that's way too many guys.
Yeah, I mean that's just is what it is right now. But the thing with Peyton though, it's just this is again for a player that hasn't played it all. This is just what's going to happen. You know, he's going to have these high moments and lulls. And Christian Braun was bringing nothing for a little bit, but he's been a lot better. You know, what's funny is guess what? Christian Braun is shooting from 3 now on the season.
I think it's like 40%.
Yes, he's shooting 43% from 3 because basically in the last few games, he's shooting like 60% or whatever else it is. And then even I think Julian has been good at times, but he's also a rookie. Like it's just you're just not going to get consistent play from these, and they don't even know what they're supposed to do. Like, and I think the Nuggets have such an unselfish culture too that I think guys are trying to they're passing up opportunities sometimes because they're trying to make the right play. But right now, when you don't have a lot of confidence, it's hard to do that and also execute at a high level. So there's a lot of players that's not bringing anything to the table. So, you know, Michael Malone basically just said, look, we're going to have to rebuild this, you know, from the inside out because this just can't be this. Like, I can't ask Joker to come in and average 35, 15, and 9 without Jamal Murray. And as soon as he goes to the bench, there's just nothing that we're getting out of it. And now the thing that happened yesterday is the Nuggets starters were I think they got worn out. I think at the end of the road trip, they were worn out because they were minuses yesterday. But they've been pluses for most of the season, except for the Minnesota game and then one other game this year. But this last game, the Houston Rockets bench only scored 18 points. So it's not like they were incredible, but the Denver Nuggets only scored 10 points off the bench. So, yeah, there's just a lack of confidence that the team has right now. But again, I'll remind people that the Nuggets had the 29th ranked bench last year. So it's not like they were playing well last year. I think they just were able to rely on their defense a little bit more than what they've been able to do so far this year. So again, they just need a little bit of a culture reset.
Per 100 possessions, Peyton Watson's currently averaging 6.2 rebounds per 100.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke Naji's averaging 10 for what it's worth. And that's not good enough for a center. But to be clear, as often as we have complained about Zeke Naji, as often as we've complained about the actual size in the middle, Zeke is averaging way more rebounds per 100 possessions than Peyton Watson. Julian Strawther's averaging 4.4 rebounds per 100 possessions. Christian Braun's up to 10.4. He has done his job, in my opinion, of getting dirty, doing the things that nobody else is willing to do. And that was the message that Peyton Watson was supposed to receive. And it just has not stuck. Here's the actual rotation that I think people were hoping for at the beginning of the season. Putting aside the starters, Jamal Murray is a starter in that configuration. People were hoping for Reggie Jackson, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Vlatko Chanchar, who's out, and Zeke Naji. Can't count on Vlatko. He tore his ACL. It's a horrible situation.
Yeah.
Uh, Jamal's out. And then the next five guys that Denver has under contract outside of those five, which none of them were rookies. You had Jalen Pickett, rookie, Julian Strother, rookie, Hunter Tyson, rookie, Justin Holiday, veteran, and DeAndre Jordan, veteran. They can't really play DeAndre consistently. That is not his role anymore, is to play. He's not going to affect winning in a positive way. And I think people have to understand that. The other three options, the other three rookie options are rookies, as we talked about. They're going to run around with their like chickens with their head cut off, and that's just how it's going to be, and that's how you're going to have to survive. Like last year, Christian Brown was an anomaly and not the rule. Like that was a great positive
Right.
thing that Denver got from a rookie that they can't expect going forward. And I think we're seeing sort of the detriments of going with a bunch of rookies in Denver's full time rotation, especially since it doesn't feel like they can really trust any of their two way guys either.
Do you think? Do you accredit that more to Calvin Booth decision making, or responding to the like the new NBA agreement and the second apron and all that stuff?
I I think it's Calvin. I think that Denver had opportunities. They can go over the like the second apron this year if they want to.
Hmm.
That was never an issue. Like they absolutely could if they wanted to. Now, you can't go over the second apron when signing Reggie Jackson. And so that was like but like they also didn't have to trade for an extra second round pick. They didn't have to sign those guys to full-time contracts. They decided to sign Julian Strother, Jalen Pickett, Julian Strother was a first round pick, so he was going to be a full time guy. They decided they want Jalen Pickett on a full time. They wanted Hunter Tyson on a full time. And those guys are taking up full time spots, despite the fact that most of the second round picks around the league are being signed to two-way contracts, if they're
Hmm.
being signed at all. So I think that Denver, especially now that you like, if DeAndre Jordan is out or if he's not going to be a player, and if Vlatko tears his like he tears an ACL and he's out, you're just suddenly out of rotation players and suddenly out of roster spots to help you. And Denver, I think, is in this really tough bind right now where they were not expecting those rookies to play a bunch, but now they have to, and they're not ready.
What do you feel like the solve will be?
I so if I were Denver, I would be very, very proactive in trying to figure out how healthy Vlatko is and whether there is a possibility that he's healthy by the end of the season. And if he's not, then you should apply for a designated injury exception. That creates another roster spot for you. And it creates the opportunity to just simply sign a guy to a contract. It's like the hardship exception,
Yeah, I
basically.
don't really want Backo coming back from an ACL injury from what August.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
like there is no reason. Like he suffered that injury in late July, I
mm,
believe. So like there even if he got back in 9 months, it would be April, in late April. And that's not reasonable. So if I were Denver, I would try to come up with another roster spot. That's the best way to do it. And then to sign a veteran, particularly a veteran front court player
like who?
who
Who's available?
that's a great question. I haven't done my research in terms of who's available. Let's go to Spot Track right now. Let's see who are currently free agents on the NBA side of things because if I were Denver, I would be trying to come up with um I would simply be trying to come up with options that are like bigger, like stronger, a center that could roll to the rim a little bit better than Zeke Naji can.
So you have like
And
Stanley Johnson, Justice Winslow, Jalen Noel, Terrence Ross, I think, Will Barton, Jermichael Green, Wyndon Gabriel, Terrence Davis, Danny Green. I think he got released, and then like Taj Gibson's, and trying to think who else might be. Hamadou Diallo, is he in the league right now?
um I think he's out, but like He'd be a guy I'd definitely look at, but he's not a center.
Willie
Kem Birch,
Hurd,
maybe? Like, I could see Kem Birch being an option, just rolling to the rim a little bit. Gorgie Jang is a little bit older, um, but there's not a lot. Like, there's just not a lot of
well, they
options
could have
here.
caught Kelly Oubre for nothing, but people apparently were running away from Kelly because he played with Charlotte last year.
Yeah, that's it's bad. Nerlens Noel,
No,
um, Tony Bradley.
no.
Uh, Pretty sure Willie Hernan Gomez is overseas right now.
Hmm.
Jonte Porter, probably not athletic enough. Montrezl Harrell's now cut.
No thanks.
So there's not a lot of options. And I can sympathize with Calvin Booth in that situation where why would you waste a roster spot on somebody that you think is probably
Didn't
not going to be
Andre
super
get six
helpful?
mil last year? Andre
Who?
Drummond.
No, Andre, he was on the second year. He's on an expiring contract now, and but he's with Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's a name that I would be trying to target. If Chicago believes that their season is done, then they should be holding a price war on some of their veterans right now. And like they're 5-12. Their season's probably pretty close to done. I mean, there's what's the actual turnaround there is a reasonable question. I would want Drummond if I were the Nuggets because he is a player that can play like Jokic in that he will roll to the rim, he will pass, and he will rebound the hell out of the ball. Um, I I think that would be a great fit for Denver, especially in a regular season context. Now,
Hmm.
the question that we always ask ourselves: how much can Denver spend on a backup center that they don't believe will play? And this is always the question that they've really faced in like when it comes to a playoff versus regular season context. So there's a lot of questions. Like um I don't know what the answer is. What I do know is that when Jamal comes back, things will look better, but they're not going to look perfect because Denver doesn't have a great second hand roster. Like they don't have the great second unit. It's just not going to happen.
I mean, we'll see. I need to see this. I do need to see more than what we have right now. Like I said, we get the 30 games in, then we have interesting conversations. I just feel like right now the team just needs to be reassembled. But like I said, bro, it's like defense is confidence. Diving on the floor and all that stuff and like just doing the right thing on the basketball court, that's just you believing in what you're doing. This team doesn't believe in what it's doing right now. They just don't. The process has just been bad. So I think for me, I'm just not as reactive. Not saying you're reactive. I'm saying I'm just not as naturally reactive to bad play over stretches because I'm not also not reactive to good play over stretches. I said during that time the Nuggets were going to have games where they get blown out by teams that aren't good. I said it. I know. We have done this every day with this team for years. We know who they are. So once they do this turnaround thing again, they're going to be dominant again. They're going to win like 7 straight games or whatever else it is. And all of a sudden, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, bet. Cool. That loss is coming. They're going to lose another game by 15, 18 points. Everybody's going to be losing their mind. So I don't know, man. I think for me, bench hasn't been great. They definitely need one more piece. I almost think they need another, like a veteran wing, more so than they need a big. But we'll see. We'll figure it out. Like, cause that's just how they play. They have a poison pill, obviously, with Zeke Naji. I don't know what in the world what's gonna happen with him. He just is.
He can't be moved. Let me just
Yeah,
let me just get that out of the
yeah,
way for
yeah.
everybody that's in the chat right now that wants to trade Zeke Naji. He's not going to get traded. Like it's just not. Like it is like he is on currently a $4 million contract, but he's averaging $8 million for his next 4 years.
Mhm.
Like it's just unless teams and maybe there are some teams that can kind of manipulate that a little bit into their books, but most teams are not going to want to try to do that. And so I would be shocked if Zeke was traded, nor would I really trade him because he is still 22 years old. And like, I understand the idea of keeping him around, if only so that you could have that extra trade chip next year. That makes a little bit
Mhm.
more sense. But like, I I would. There's one more name that I'm going to throw out there. Somebody threw a trended Watford earlier in the comments. He's on the Nets. That's not the name I would look at. I would look at Dayron Sharp. He is a big-bodied center, averages like 6 rebounds a game for 14 minutes a night. And what Denver, in my opinion, needs is they need some structure to that second
Mm.
unit, somebody who is going to just let them run high pick and roll or let them run DHO and then be an absolute load in the middle of the paint. Uh, that's somebody that I would target, and then I'd put Zeke at the 4 and be like, all right, cool,
The
Zeke,
4.
you, yeah, I'd put him at
That's
the 4.
this Zeke?
He's
Non-force spacing Zeke?
if
Non-offensive
you
threat Zeke?
I am here to learn if Zeke Naji can shoot or not.
He
And if he
can't.
can't, okay, if that's the thing, then they shouldn't have signed him to the contract in the first place.
He's had a hick in his shot for 2.5 years, brother. Brother.
I don't disagree with you. Like, but I need to see it over. I need to see him at the 4 for a significant amount of time before I'm like, okay, yeah, you can't do this. Because we don't know yet. He has been taught over the course of this last year and a half to run the DHO game, roll to the rim, never pop, never do any of this floor spacing stuff. I think if his role changed, I think if he was set up in the corners, set up on the wings,
I
asked
just
to do
need a
something.
shooter to catch the ball and have a go through the motion of a shot instead of Zeke getting the ball and then he has this like little thing he does right here, and then it's like, and then it's on his free throws. It's here and then a here on this free throws. Like you can't do that. Like there's just no
Yeah.
effect. I don't understand. I don't understand. But guess what? When Aaron Gordon's shooting the ball well, Aaron Gordon has a nice little, it's like a very muscular robotic huh. But when he does that, like that, he just you can't be muscular. This is the thing, right? As a muscular man myself, as a muscular athlete, you know, former college football player, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you are bulky, you have to develop a smoothness to your game. Right now, Zeke has no smooth, no suave, no Rico Suave to his game at all. No paprika. It's all salt. It's not paprika at all. And it's just, he just looks like he's been put in a little bit of a bind. And again, maybe if he goes to the 4, then, he gets some more fluidity, bro. But when he gets that jumper, bro, I'm just like, and to get to the free throw, I'm just like, bro, just shoot the ball. Like, just let it come through you. It's like, are you an Avatar Aang fan, Ryan Blackburn?
I have watched. I have partaken. Yes.
Okay. No paprika, Chelsea. So if you are an Avatar Aang fan down there in the comments, okay, here's the thing. When he goes into an Avatar state, when he lost his powers, he had to let earth, wind, fire, and everything else and water has to course through him. It's a natural progression. When you are an airbender, Ryan, listen to this, okay? Learn something. When you're an airbender, it's
Gotta
all
let it
about
flow through you.
the state
Yeah.
of flow. When
Yeah.
I talk about Jokic, I always say he's like water. Jamal Murray's fire. Jamal Murray just like that's how he plays. But Jokic is fire. The thing is, Zeke needs more of this to his game. Aaron needs more of this. When he's confident, Aaron is doing this. But when they start doing all this hitching their shot and lack of confidence and not shooting well, it's just because they just simply are not letting the game simply flow. And I am just so sick. I'm not gonna hold y'all. Look, I'm not trying to rant, but I want to clear this up. I'm not even gonna put the comment up. People that are coming for Michael Porter Jr., people that are coming for Aaron Gordon, y'all, some of y'all, the same folks that was coming for Jamal Murray last year when the Nuggets went off to a good start. And then going into the Timberwolves series, is he a good enough number 2? Michael Porter Jr. went into the playoffs and was a great two-way player. One, y'all, ungrateful, some of y'all people, an NBA championship with Aaron Gordon, and now they ain't good. Cam Thomas. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me look at this. Hold on. Wait a minute. Because Cam Thomas got this thing around the league where a lot of the hoopers and stuff are. Look, let me show you this. Cam Thomas, for all that stuff people talking, 57 true shooting this year, chucking shots at 27 points a game. That's a shot chucker. You don't even like shot chuckers in the Nuggets offense because we had those before. Named Bones Highland. Bones Highland was one of those, and y'all ran him out of town. Ran him out of town. Jamal Murray does that. When he gets into the playoff, Ryan, when he gets into the playoff, they literally will say about Jamal Murray, oh, he needs to stop shot chuckers. He's dominating the ball all of a sudden. Come on, bro. Y'all don't even like shot chuckers. You already got one on your team. And you know who else has been shot chucking lately? Huh?
Aaron Gordon.
No.
I'm just kidding.
No. The big guy.
Yeah, big guy. Yeah.
He's been shot chucking too. So this is what I'm saying. And y'all, he's not playing efficient basketball, all this other stuff. We know. But y'all, I'm just trying to tell y'all have to look at what basketball really is. Okay? Those small things aren't fixing this team. Porter was a top 50 player in the league through the playoffs. So was Aaron Gordon. You don't find that's why they won, because they have skilled side. Ryan Blackburn. Every single theory, oh my God, the Nuggets are just so big, but it's not just their size. It's skill. It's like their ability to get in and out of shots and score at multiple levels, and defend and switch and all that stuff. You had Tim Legler, and you had the Brian Windhorst and the Who Collective and Tim McMahon. Like their version of Heat and the Lakers, they're just too big and too skilled. Too skilled. Come on.
It's pretty funny. First of all, top tier rant. That's fantastic. You're on your game tonight, my friend. You are on your game. It is look, Denver's gonna be okay. The Ringer, they ranked Jamal Murray as the 15th best player. And I think it's very clear watching through this stretch that he is. He's that's about right. Because what he does is he helps provide Denver with an identity. He helps them recenter everything. He helps them focus. And he is that guy that is always so consistent. Admit that our depth sucks compared to the other top teams.
Who's on Boston's bench? Who's on Boston's bench?
Delano Banton is not saving this roster. He's just not.
Peyton Pritchard? Guaranteed in the playoff series, they getting cooked when he's on.
No.
Sam Hauser?
Yeah, Sam Hauser. Hey, Sam Hauser's regular season net rating is fantastic. It's fantastic. No, Zeke versus Peyton Pritchard is funny because they signed the same contract basically, and everybody in Boston's like, "Oh man, Peyton Pritchard is the truth," and then he's going to get played off the floor, and Zeke won't. Like Zeke won't because he'll be able to at least guard, and that's something that a lot of people don't understand. And that's something that's not going to show up until the playoffs.
The Milwaukee Bucks, by the way, just to be clear, since we're talking about all this depth, ain't got nobody, Pat Connaughton and Jay Crowder or Marjon Beauchamp coming off the bench with Bobby Portis. And guess what? Their defense really sucks because they got Dame, Pat, and Malik and Jay Crowder trying to POA defend versus with drop coverage bigs on the court. They're getting cooked. Giannis, respect to Giannis, top 3 player in the league, top 2, whoever you are, been cooking versus the bad defenses. All of a sudden, he plays versus the Boston Celtics, nowhere to be seen. So all the issues you all are seeing, well, they're real. I also want to let people know, look around the league. Everybody has issues. Everyone does. Guess what? But the Nuggets probably got less issues than almost anybody else in the league, if not everybody. Ryan, the Celtics cannot put a bench player on the court. Can't. And they don't execute down the stretch of games well. Boston fans are still complaining about Tatum and his shot
and Brown. Oh my God, Brown is like Brown. You knew it was going to be a big game last night or on yesterday because Brown went 6 of 22 and had a 2 to 3 assist to turnover ratio. That's how you knew it was a big game for everybody. Look, everybody knows the Nuggets are going to be fine. There are things that they can do between now and the trade deadline to close up their roster a little bit better. They need a little bit more size. I do believe that. They need to not put Peyton Watson in situations where he has to feel like he has to rebound because he's not a rebounder, clearly, or he's not there yet. There are things that they can do. I think that this upcoming rotation in the game on Sunday will be, assuming Jamal is still out, Reggie will start. Christian will be the first off the bench. Justin Holiday will be the second off the bench. And then I think Zeke Naji and Julian Strawther will probably come in at about the same time. and Reggie Jackson will come back in. And I think
I'll probably.
maybe
Would
Casey.
would you put Reggie on the bench?
I don't know. I don't know who should come off the bench, and because who leads that unit if not him?
Well, this is what I said, and I said this on Lockdown yesterday, and I said this last night. The Nuggets are very freaking good with KCP, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr. They're very good. Now they lack that Bruce Brown ball handling, but that lineup is very good. For me, forget it. Just go defense. If you're just going to do it this way, just lean defense with the starters. Just lean defense. Bring Reggie Jackson in. Let him man it with the bench and all that other stuff. But just lean into the defense. Lean into the wings. Everybody has to play on a string. Obviously, you don't need a real point guard. It's the regular season, and just call it a day. And then when you need to execute down the stretch, you can put Reggie Jackson in if you want to for Christian Brown. Whatever you want to do.
I like the lineup that they put out there in the fourth quarter, and it actually got some success against the Rockets. It was Reggie, Christian Brown, Justin Holiday, Aaron Gordon, Zeke Naji. I think that's good enough, and I think that's the lineup that you probably should go with if you're running a second unit, because you can actually go to like a Reggie, Aaron Gordon pick and roll, and okay, that'll get you some points against bench units. It's not going to get you a lot, and those guys are going to have to play better, and they will play better at home. But like that unit, the identity that Michael Malone has talked about ad nauseum has been defend, rebound, run. That lineup will defend, rebound, and run. Like they just will.
All right. Yeah, we'll see, bro. Maybe Hunter Tyson gets a look. Who knows? I don't know. Well, all I know is that I think we should just relax. I said this last year. Aaron Rodgers. RELAX. Relax.
Relax, everybody. All right. Let's do one more quick break, and then we'll do a quick third segment, talking about the upcoming week and our final feelings of concern on the team. But first, this message from Kim Becker.
What's up, guys? Kim Becker here with Mile High Sports. Make sure you guys are following us on social media so that you never miss a Mile High Sports daily. Monday through Friday morning, we'll post a video hosted by me catching you up on everything you need to know when it comes to sports right here in the Mile High State. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, we're there, and we've got you covered for everything Colorado sports.
Elite show so far. Really appreciate everybody for hopping in. Thank you so much for contributing to the chat. Thank you so much for supporting us. Make sure to hit that like button if you can. We've been having a great time doing these shows, and Swipa and I we'll probably go Sunday next week, so everybody kind of knows. Just looking at the schedule, I think Sunday makes sense because I think they've got games on. Actually, Sunday's my birthday, if I'm not mistaken. So
30 years old, y'all. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Big 3-0. Big 3-0 for Ryan Blackburn. Put it in the chat. Happy birthday. Big 3-0 for Ryan Blackburn, y'all.
I'm turning 27. Don't stress me out like that. God damn.
In the chat, be honest. Which of Ryan, between
Hey,
Ryan and which one?
That's not nice.
Which
that's
one of us
nice.
comes off as? Which one of us is older? Which one of us comes off as older? If you had to go gauge between the two of us,
that's not nice.
Who is older, Ryan?
Hey.
Who? No, wait, hold on. Who acts older, Ryan or Swipa?
Oh, God.
Put that in there. Everybody knows how old I am. You know, nice.
Yeah. You're like 46,
33. Full of energy and joy and life.
God.
Here's Ryan freaking out, going crazy off the Pelicans. Pelicans got a better bench than the Nuggets do, y'all. Everybody run, hide. Run and hide. That's why it's just Swiper got the old man energy.
Swiper, you could be 25 to 40. I agree with that. I agree with that. Swiper goes through phases. He goes through different segments at times. And like he's like, youngins, let me teach you about this NBA history that we had. Let me teach you about playing high school football back in the day versus these young guys can cook. Let's go. There's differences there. Oh my gosh. All right, let's wrap up here. You asked me before the show feelings of concern from 1 to 10. Where are you at right now? What's your number?
A 1 to a 0. I mean, if I have to lean into something, then I'll say a 1. It's too early, brother. It's too early, brother. You know, to take the wide words from Jokic himself.
It's still 20% of the way through the season. Like, I know that there's another 80% left to go. And there are reasons to have faith that the team will completely, entirely turn it around. And like, you know how I believe in Jamal. Like that's going to happen. I do believe that. Now, has the team found an eighth rotation player yet? No. Reggie Jackson, Christian Brown, they still need an eighth guy. And like the minutes that Jeff Green filled last year, like I think you could say that Reggie or Christian, those guys are going to fill the minutes that Bruce and Christian filled last year. I firmly agree. But we still need
We
to
haven't
find
even
the eighth
crossed
guy.
Yokemus, Ryan.
I agree. Believe me, I get it. I get it. But you also like you had Jeff Green, you knew what you had in him. And I think they knew what they had in Vlatko last year and could have gone to him too, but like they don't have those options anymore. So we're still in search mode in that point. And so for that reason, I think I'll put it at
Ryan
I'll put
Blackburn,
it
big Jeff Green fan, by the way.
it's at a 3. It's at a 3. Yeah, that's the absolute opposite. God damn. Um, okay, so the Nuggets have a tough schedule coming up. Let's talk about it here real quick. This upcoming week, Denver plays in a different city every night. In like they play 5 games in the next 7 days, by the looks of it. Gosh darn, they play 5 games in the next 7 days.
Yeah.
Sunday
Schedule
versus the Spurs at home. Monday at the Clippers on a back-to-back. Come home and play the Rockets on Wednesday. Then you go on a road back-to-back and play the Suns on Friday and the Kings on Saturday. Good God, that's a painful one right
Yeah,
there.
the NBA is like, hey, we're giving you an 8-day break anyway. We're just gonna pack it all in, just enjoy it. You get 8 days off.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. They're not actually getting 8 days off because they're going to get 2 extra games that are built into that schedule in
That's
between
true.
December 2nd and December 11th. So it is not good. Like Denver, they're going to get more of a break during that time because I think they play on December 5th and December 7th, I'll say, and that means that they don't have to play on the
Mhm.
8th, 9th, or 10th or the 3rd or the 4th. So there will be some
But then
time there.
listen to this. They play. Listen to the dates. Even don't make sense to me. The 27th, the 29th, the 1st, the 2nd, and then the games. The 11th, the 12th, 14th, 16th, 18th, 20th, 22nd, 23rd, 25th. They don't have more than a day off.
Yeah. More they don't have 2 days off for like they will have it for that in-season tournament and they're going to have to take advantage of that. And so maybe it's not the worst thing in the world that they're not going to be trying to compete for the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals in Vegas. Maybe that's okay. And maybe there's a reason why they look so bad in this last one. They're like, "You know what? We're pretty tired. Let's not do this because we don't." Like let me actually ask you this before we get to like how we think they'll do in this stretch. How much did you want the in-season tournament for them, and how much do you think the Nuggets wanted the in-season tournament?
I think they just wanted to compete, but obviously they didn't care enough because they didn't show up last night. So
Yeah,
probably a 3 for the Nuggets. You know, like, hey, we care, but not that much. And for me, maybe like a 5. It was just fun to see them play like down meaningful basketball, like in the on a nice court with the jerseys and all that kind of stuff. A Joker master class to win the in season tournament, something like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean anything. That's the thing. The same way with the play-in stuff. Like it doesn't go anywhere. Like you can't use that in your legacy resume. Like
Oh,
Steph is
au contraire, sir. LeBron James is going to be the first player to win the in-season tournament and be the in-season tournament MVP, and that is going right on the legacy card. I will
yeah.
tell
Well,
you that right now.
they don't put it on Steph Curry's resume. He's defeated, winless in playing games. So I don't know what to tell you. I never hear it brought up.
Hasn't had a ton of play-in games, to be clear.
SGA, everybody's like, oh, SGA's a top 10 player. He sucked in the play-in.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We don't hold it against him.
I also saw somebody, I won't name names, but I saw somebody be like, when are we putting SGA into the MVP conversation? And all I could remember was, man, Christian Brown and KCP locked him up for 2 of 16 in a blowout win at home as the Nuggets defeated them by like 35. Like
Mhm.
he didn't look like the MVP that day, that's for sure. But that was game 3 of the season, so nobody's going to remember that. All right. Upcoming week. Do they win against the Spurs on Sunday?
In Denver, yes.
Wemby show.
They've sucked, but they have not looked good, by the way. Spurs have been
I
terrible.
know.
And they got
But
more nationally televised games.
If we are being honest about the profile that the Spurs have as a team with two bigs, you've got the rim protecting four, and you've got a guy, and like Zach Collins is not going to do anything to Jokic, but like that's the exact kind of player that Aaron Gordon still struggles with, like on both ends of the floor. So
Zach or Wemby?
Wemby, like that
Yeah.
kind of, well, it's mostly that kind of setup where you've got like Wemby just roaming off of Aaron Gordon. That's going to be tough, and I don't know what Denver's going to do. They'll probably win. They'll probably figure it out. But like it wouldn't surprise me if they look pretty bad in that game.
Yeah, it's going to be at home though. They just lost back-to-back games, so I think they win that game.
Monday they travel and face the Clippers on a back-to-back. You think they win that one?
Yeah, that's a win. Clippers. They're good. I like the Clippers too, but they just lost to the Pelicans as well. That's the other.
It is pretty funny that all you had to say was Clippers, and I was like, yep, okay, that makes sense. Wednesday they come home and face the Rockets.
That's what
I think
they're at home.
I think they get revenge, and the Rockets are not a good road team. They're a great home team. They're now 7-1 at home, but they are not good on the road. So I think that Denver gets revenge there. Friday at the Suns.
Jamal Murray's back. They're winning.
Jamal Murray versus the Suns is a big deal.
Yeah, they win that game, then they lose that Saturday game to the Kings.
Yeah, Saturday at the Kings. We'll call that an L for sure.
They
okay.
probably lose to the Hawks, if we're being honest. Golly.
Yeah, well, we'll stick with those five. We'll stick with those five just because that's like I think we'll talk after those 5 games, and like we'll have a nice picture of what's going down. So yeah, I'm gonna say 3-2. I don't feel great about it because it's 3 road games there,
right,
and there are 2 back-to-backs in that stretch. But I am gonna say 3-2. I think they bounce back a little bit. I think Jokic plays better. I think Aaron Gordon plays better, frankly, and I think that Justin Holiday, adding him to that bench unit more consistently, I do think that will help.
See, it's gonna be fun. There's actually a lot of good games this week.
Yeah,
the Clippers game is on NBA TV, and then the Suns game is on ESPN, and then they play NBA TV on Sacramento as well. They got 3 nationally televised games this week.
I saw that Suns Nuggets game being promoted before this past Friday, and they were saying Friday Nuggets at Suns. So I'm like, oh, so that one people are really loading up for. Interesting.
Yeah,
that to me thinks that like I do think that Jamal will be back at that point, but I thought that there was an outside chance that he would be back at this stretch of the season.
Don't waste your time, Jamal. Don't waste your time.
Denver could certainly use him. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, if Jamal would have came back, he killed the Rockets last year. But yeah, if he would have, I just chill out, bro. Like, just no point.
All right, Patrick McMahon. We'll wrap up with this. He says if they go 3-2, they would be 13-8, and then get the season started after that. Is 13-8 a palatable early season beginning?
I think they were something like that last year, weren't they?
You're right. No, they certainly were.
12-8. They might have
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfectly reasonable, and they can go on a run. There's no doubt about that. But I think one thing that's given me a little bit of pause, I know that Jamal's been out, but everybody else has been healthy during this stretch. And the fact that they've fallen to pieces like this just without one guy is a little bit concerning.
I think that should paint the picture too. Then, like if everybody's healthy but Jamal, they're playing like this, then this is like an eternal thing. Somebody said they were 14-10 last time. So
yeah, I see that.
I think they got if I remember correctly, I think they got all the way to 39-15 at one point last year. They went crazy from December through early March.
No, that was a fun time, and I'm hoping that they rounded to form there. What is the game number after December 15th? I think we could also do that too. Game number 24. So if they are 14-10 at December 14th, and then they don't play on the 15th, but then they play on the 16th.
Yeah.
If they are 14-10 through 24 games, Denver will be fine. They'll go on a big run after that because that's just the law of Yokmas.
Right.
Yeah, all right. Man. I think that's all I got. That's all I've got. You got anything for me?
Nope. Enjoy your day. Just, like enjoy y'all Saturday, relax. Try not to worry about Zeke Najee's contract or Michael Porter's apparently, or Aaron Gordon being traded for OG Anunoby. Team would look radically different if they did that. But, just try to enjoy the process, man. This is part of the NBA season. Y'all asked for it. This is what y'all wanted. Y'all want to be back in the season. Welcome. Nuggets regular season basketball.
Oh, already tired. Already tired of the regular season, if I'm going to be honest. But hey, this is part of the process. Denver's got to figure some things out about themselves, and every year is different. And the most important thing that Nuggets fans can remember at this stage is that things did not look perfect before. And then on December 8th, things started looking a lot better last year when Jamal Murray hit that buzzer beater. So I'm looking for a key moment in this upcoming stretch. Maybe it comes against the Suns on December 1st. That would be very poetic, in my opinion. Everybody, that is going to do it for this episode of Pickaxe and Roll Weekends with Swipa Edition. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. We'll be back next weekend, probably on my birthday, December 3rd. So that will be fun. Everybody, thank you so much for stopping by and making the show great. Swipa is clearly out of here. We'll talk to you guys very soon.